You're in the lead. 2 for 1. You've shown your might, Guardian. Gained the lead. Double down.
Alright guys, welcome to the video today. So in this video I have a pre-patch 2.0 gameplay where I was using the Hyarchon LR2 and the Red Death in a game of skirmish. So I didn't really do that well in this gameplay aim-wise, I guess you'd say. I'd never really used a Red Death before. You know, when you use exotic hand cannons for 8 months or so, you get used to that swaying back and forth motion of dealing with the recoil. In pulse rifles, it's pretty much the exact opposite. I've gotten a lot better and I have a pretty good Red Death shot now. But this is an old gameplay, so please excuse the Red Death shot and how terrible it is. But I did want to talk about some things in this gameplay and in this video regarding some changes in 2.0, you know, weapons, grenades, etc. So the first thing that I did want to go over is grenade changes. So the first one, the big one in my opinion, is the arc bolt grenade nerf. Before this, you know, with Thorn, even before Thorn was nerfed, the burn was nerfed, you could Thorn arc bolt someone. I'm pretty sure everyone knew that. You know, throw one grenade at the ground and get a body shot and they would burn out. That was one of my biggest complaints back in the day, so I'm really happy that they changed the base damage from 122 to I believe it's 75 now. Either way, it got nerfed a ton and they're not really that effective anymore. I rarely ever find myself you know, in a situation where an arc bolt was the reason that I lost, you know, a gunfight or an encounter, so I'm really happy about that. The next thing that I did want to talk about was the firebolt grenades. So firebolt grenades were the best grenade in the game pretty much. They burned you for so long that if you got one last word body shot and one grenade, you would burn out. So a lot of people didn't like them. Hunters never liked warlocks for using those grenades, and warlocks did not like, you know, hunters for blink or anything like that, arc bolts. But overall, they got, you know, nerfed by a little bit. The base damage is a little bit lower, but really it's not that big of a difference. I haven't found it to be so. You still burn for a ton of damage. If you get 2 Mida body shots and then 1 grenade, you're going to burn out still. So they're still going to be really powerful grenades. But as of right now, they kind of put themselves on par with, you know, stuff like arc bolt grenades, where smart grenades in general are doing less damage than they were before. So I'm really happy about that. The grenade buffs that I don't want to talk about was the big one, the incendiary grenade. Before, the incendiary grenade was probably the most underused grenade in the game besides the swarm grenade. It just wasn't powerful enough. You know, it did burn damage, but it only did like 3 ticks or something. It barely did any burn damage, and the base damage wasn't high enough. So before, you know, not many people used them, but after, I didn't even know this till yesterday, but they got a huge buff. The blast radius, I think, is a lot bigger, as well as the burn damage. So when I was playing in the control tournament against Triple Wreck, I think I got one-shotted by incendiary grenades probably a good 3 to 4 times. You know, they're really good now if you can place them correctly. You know, it functions like a traditional grenade in any other video game, so if you're good with grenades, go ahead and use that. It's probably one of the best grenades in the game now. And then moving on to weapons, I did want to talk about my favorite weapons post-patch and which weapons are not as good. I want to very quickly talk about exotic hand cannons like Last Word and Thorn, as well as Hawkmoon. So the first, you know, weapon that I found that I really like is the one I'm using in this gameplay, which is Red Death. If you get in a 1v2 encounter, you can pick them off at an angle to where you can only see one of the people at a time, the first person that's rushing you. And then if you can pick them off, you know, you regenerate your health, you can reload extremely quickly, and then you can pop back out and get an equal 1v1 with the second guy. So I really enjoy using Red Death. It's probably my favorite primary to use in Sweaties now. I think I had a few 2-pieces where I was in a gunfight. I got the first one, I regen grenade, or not grenade, I regen health, and then I took out the second one. And just overall, it's a ton of fun to use. Mida is the next one. I think that's probably the best, you know, top tier weapons now that exotic hand cannons have gotten nerfed. It's not exactly the damage of the thing, it's that there's pretty much no range cutoff. You know, just the range of most weapons in general was nerfed with the patch. So now that scout rifles can compete even better at long range, it's really good for the weapon class as a whole. So I've seen a lot of people in Sweaties use Mida. You know, it's not as good on smaller maps, but if you get in a Red Death fight to a Mida fight at a decent range, the Mida pretty much wins all the time because they can strafe back and forth really quickly, which makes it a little bit harder for them, or for you to hit them, and then as well as having the range advantage. So overall, Mida and Red Death are my 2 favorite exotic primaries right now. We're gonna have to see which ones come out with the release of the Taken King, but overall right now these are my 2 favorites. And then the last one that I really enjoy on bigger maps is the Messenger and the Scholar. I only really use those when we get like Widow's Court or First Light or Bastion or anything like that. I still prefer the Red Death on pretty much any other map besides the humongous ones that are like combined arms type maps. But overall, summing this up, Red Death is my favorites. Mida would be my go-to secondary on a bigger map, like a medium-sized map, and then Messenger or Scholar on a huge map. Use incendiary grenades now because they're incredibly strong. Firebolts got nerfed, but not as much as arc bolts. Arc bolts got a pretty big hit. So if you're good with stickies or skip grenades, I guess try those out and see how they work for you. Those are the main changes. The last change that I want to talk about, which is the big one, was the nerf to blink. So a lot of people before this patch was released, they were always complaining about blink. I was one that was complaining about it all the time too. The main thing was blink shotgun and how you could use it so aggressively. I think that they intended for blink to be more of a defensive maneuver, but it ended up being an offensive maneuver because the Hunter Blade Dancer class has quick draw. So right after you blink, you can pull out your weapon immediately and shotgun people. You can't really do that anymore, even if you do have quick draw. That was the main issue before. I had no problem playing people blinking on a Warlock because you really couldn't pull out your gun that fast compared to Hunter, a Blade Dancer. So overall, they nerfed it by making the blink itself go slower. So the speed of the blink is slower. It's a lot easier to trace because they left behind a trail. It's like a blue trail, so wherever they blink, you can kind of see their ghost follow them. So it's a lot easier to trace now and track and know where to place your shots when someone is blinking. And then in addition to that, the blink itself is a lot slower and it feels a lot more sluggish. And then the final thing, which is the big one as far as blink shotgunning goes, is the fact that you can't pull out your weapon immediately after blinking. It's a good at least half second before you can pull your weapon out. So I see a lot of people blink at me and just kind of get caught with their pants down because they can't even pull out their weapon. So overall, I'm really satisfied with the patch. I'm going to have some more videos going up later. Today, I actually have the Arm Day Control Tournament Finals. I've subbed in for like 4 different teams. So this is the 3rd different team that I'm going to be subbing in for. And it's going to be against the Xbox people. So Pashi, Gabe, Shrab, and I think Emger. I'm not quite sure. But overall, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I'll make a video about it later in case people don't watch this video. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. And if you did, drop a like down below. And hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.